Remember that cutting losses simply gives you another opportunity to find a new trade where conditions are simply more favorable. So my first trade today was a red one, and it was caught within my live trading session with the LPP team, and it was an SQQQ, but I kept it small. My second trade today, market went according to plan, market sold off, and as market sold off, I added more to SQQQ. It went according to plan, and this one was green and it was big. This is why, again, ratios matter when it comes down to risk to reward ratios and how you manage and mitigate risk if things are not going according to plan. But then when they do, you know when to step on the gas and to average up into your position. I walked away with $8,433.58. I left myself with my one lucky share, and I called it out. We talked about this with the LPP team during our live trading session. Market was ramping up. It was becoming very overbought. And if you look at it on the 30-minute time frame, I mean, we've been descending. We've been forming lower highs and lower lows. So can it be a surprise, or is it completely out of left field that market could get rejected? It wasn't to me, right? In the sense that I knew it was a possibility, but obviously market looked very bullish. So I originally cut losses as market made new highs. I cut losses right away when QQQ broke above a specific resistance. I cut losses on SQQQ, keeping my loss as small as possible. It was still about a $1,000 loss. Still pretty decent, but not the end of the world, right? As this thing continued to rip up, I shared one message with our LPP team, right? For all of our bulls that are making money as the market's going up, it's, hey, as long as direction is favorable, enjoy it. But as soon as direction begins to change, understand that the time to prepare is not when the market is selling off, but in advance, right? You have to have a plan of action. A goal without a plan is a plan to fail. And the stock market is no exception. So again, I always try to encourage beginners in areas that most beginners lack. And that is definitely having a plan. So it's very easy to see that once we peaked, we began to trade sideways. Trading sideways is indication of a potential resistance. And we weren't doing that very early on. So it seemed like NASDAQ was losing its steam. And then finally, when it did, we broke below EMA. I waited for my re-entry. I called it out within my LPP Discord chat, just so you guys can see here. Waited for the confirmation of lower lows on QQQ and waited for confirmation of higher highs on SQQQ. And the beautiful thing about this is that I did not need to be perfect. Remember, my first trade was red, but because it sold off so much, this is where it pays to be patient. Remember, taking a red trade does not make you a bad trader. It's just the trade that didn't go according to plan. And the same thing, by cutting losses and by managing risk, you simply give yourself a new opportunity to keep those losses small and to look for a new trade opportunity with conditions that are simply more favorable. So with that being said, once we got that confirmation and formed those higher highs and higher lows, I mean, the market took off, right? From lows to highs in a perfect world, if I was a perfect trader, that was around 2.76%. If we look at overall lows to highs, right, of the potential for the rebound, if I was insane and I could see the future, that's a 3.7% move. But guess what? I'm not perfect, right? I added to it when we broke above VMA and then added to it as direction was favorable. And then I sold early. I began to reduce my position size very early on as we approached previous resistance levels, respecting the other side, right? And then I walked away with $8,400 in the green. Now, again, there's so many different ways in which you can do this. You can try to bag hold and just hope for it to recover, but then if it doesn't recover, then you end up actually taking a much larger loss, which then doesn't respect your risk to reward ratios. Or if things begin to go south, you just accept it as what it is. You don't take it personally. It's nothing against you. It's nothing against me. It's just direction is changing. And because of that, we cut losses. We keep it as small as possible. Loss is, inevitable in this market. Your job is to simply manage it. So as it sells off, remember, the cheaper it gets, the cheaper you can get it for if you stay patient enough and actually wait for confirmation. And that is the beautiful thing, is that we always obsess so much about, I want to buy the dip, I want to buy the dip, I want to buy the dip. But what if the dip keeps dipping? If you're patient and then you wait for confirmation when direction is actually favorable, then that is a big difference, right? Because now there's an actual reason on why you are entering and not just hoping for something to happen, but you're actually seeing that the market is indicating signs of an uptrend. And that played a huge role in my success today with SQQQ, right? My first trade was not necessarily a bad one. It just was a red one. It didn't go according to plan. But when conditions were favorable, again, new opportunity, made sure that I waited for confirmation, added more to it, and then played it safe and locked in profits. So very happy with how today played out. And I'm excited to see that if we continue to retest the same resistance, we have this downside potential. So maybe I can jump into TQQQ, or if we continue to take off and make new highs, then again, I can re-enter SQQQ. The opportunities are endless as long as I focus on one thing, and that's progress, price action, and of course direction. I guess it's more than just one thing, but they all go hand in hand. So when it comes down to the CPI data report, we did live stream it this morning. It came in at 3.2%. The overall forecast was around 3.2 to 3.3%. So again, makes sense on why the market tried to indicate signs of recovery. This is available on bls.gov/CPI, but you can pull up the CPI data report, and the overall CPI coming in at 3.2 and core CPI coming in at 4.7%. The biggest increase that we saw for the month of July was in fuel oil, and that was an increase of 3%. And the biggest decrease that we saw was in used cars and trucks, and that was a drop of negative 1.3%. So according to market sentiment as of right now, it seems like this is what the market wanted because of what the Federal Reserve will interpret of this, and that's that inflation is actually still coming down even with all the previous rate hikes that the Federal Reserve still continues to have in place for the overall market. So again, I'm taking it day by day. I don't know if the market's going to go up. I don't know if the market's going to go down. And that's why I'm choosing to try to stay cash as much as possible by the end of the day, so I can start every new day with options, right? If I see market to be bullish, then I can go into TQs. If I see the market to be bearish, I can then go into SQs. So again, I don't like to overcomplicate my trading, but I also want to make sure that I always have a positive message for all of you guys. And remember, a red day does not define you as a bad trader, but if anything, probably defines you as someone, when it comes down to you properly being able to manage risk and cut losses, a better trader than someone that bags holds a position and just ends up actually being in the green. Risk management is essential, and it's the only way that you will see growth in this market, and it's by being able to control how much money you give back into the market. Remember, I do trade live every single morning with one team and one team only. I offer nothing else. I work with one team, and it's my Learn Plan Profit team. They get to watch me trade live every single day. So if you want the ability to watch me trade live as soon as tomorrow, that is going to be the second link in the description down below. It's a one-time payment, lifetime access. It's $175 off. And again, it is literally the only service that I offer to be able to watch me trade live every single day. I appreciate your time. Like always, let's make sure that we end the year on a green note. Take it easy, team.